Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Before I get to our guest, well, first of all, the first time that we've had our guest on for the third time, it's Katie Lee. She's one of my favorite guests, if I should say so myself. And she's coming back on to talk to us about what she's been up to the last, I'd say, yeah, it's been maybe a little over a year since we last talked. I believe it is April, and we were recording this in early June. So, yeah, she's back now on the East Coast. She was on the West Coast. We'll get into that, where, I mean, hopefully it's got I know it's not going to be as good as weather as it is on the West Coast, but hopefully it's still nice down there. But she's back to share her journey, and we couldn't be more than happy to have her back on. Katie, thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure to share my journey because people got to stay up to date with what's going on. Kaylee Need.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So before we get into that, I mean, what's the weather like today in Maryland?
It's actually sunny and pretty high, like 85 ish. So the humidity is not horrible today. So it gives you a little bit of fresh air versus the air that smothers you and you can't breathe. But tomorrow is supposed to be rainy and the next day rainy. So we got to live it up.
Yep. No, I mean, so it was 96 degrees yesterday up here in Minnesota. And for anyone who isn't aware of, during this quarantine, I've just taken a part-time pizza delivery thing, and I delivered for 6 hours last night. So that was not a fun time. Where literally,
Oh,
I mean, the only good thing about that is that we didn't even really have to use like a pizza bag to put the pizzas in. I mean, we could just leave them out and leave the window open basically, and it would be, it would be even more cooked before than it even was out of the oven.
great.
So yeah, but right now it is my perfect weather because of my skin tone, where I mean it is cloudy out right now, so I don't have to worry about sunburn or sun, I don't have to worry about anything with the sun. So this is perfect weather for me. But yeah, I mean, so I'm glad that we are both enjoying good weather, because that is a rarity on this podcast, that both me and the guest are. But yeah, I mean, now that we got the weather out of the way, why don't you give us a little bit of what's been going on ever since this last year? I mean, I know you made that big move back home a few weeks ago, and how's that been?
It's been good. It's good to be back home. California was, not everything that I guess you hoped and dreamed it would be. But you're just taking the good with the bad. Thank God I packed up my stuff and made the move back home to get myself back on track, get my business back where I need it, and really just reset my life, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's just anybody that knows California or has been, it can quickly steal your soul if you let it. So just watch out for those signs and just do what makes you happy at the end of the day. So I had to come back home, be with my family, be with my loved ones, and I can't be more happy to be back.
Not that I'm hating on California, but I had a brother that also lived in LA for like a year and a half. But obviously, I mean, my brother's like, yeah, there are so many fake people that it is really hard to, decide who to really trust.
Yeah. Well, I went out there with just a few friends and familiar faces, but California is so big. So, really, for you guys to be in the exact same place is kind of rare. So, my friends were, maybe 60, 70 miles, away from me because I was going from OC to LA to San Diego, kind of that area. But yeah, I quickly learned people are not like from the East Coast. The only nice people that I really ran into or even spoke with or interacted with were originally from the East Coast and they moved to the West Coast. So it's not like they were native Californians. It's like they were from the East Coast and they still had their good vibes, and their good energy. But it's hard because everybody in California is just kind of about themselves and they're more about how you can help them versus, how they can help you. And everything's expensive. So it's all about money. But I think what I've heard from Northern Cal being a little bit more like kind of like hippie town a little bit. People are a little bit more down to earth and laid back than Southern Cal. So you kind of get the best of both worlds depending on where you want to go in California. But I just quickly figured out that it's not the place for me at all.
Well, for anyone out there in California, let me just give you a little bit of what we're talking about when we talk about, East Coast hospitality and also Midwest, where last winter, I got into a car accident where it was like January. I was coming home from work. It was like midnight, and I swerved, and I mean, I got lucky on this one. Like, I clipped, like a caution sign that they had on the side of the road, barely did any damage to my car, but literally my car ended up inverted, kind of like this, like sideways, kind of on where one side was just bent completely, and I was about 3 feet away from just going head on with a tree, but the large snowbank stopped me. But out of the 20 people that drove past me before the cops got there, 18 of them stopped and asked if they could help me out, and then I was just like, oh no, it's fine. And then the other two people were two people that literally, they drove past me, stopped about a tenth of a mile down the road, and then called the cops for me to get, because what happened was my cell phone got lost in the car when I was I was not on my phone, by the way, anyone. I cannot be accused. I can guarantee you I was not on my phone. But yeah, so that's just a little big difference. And yeah, I couldn't imagine what that change must be like. But I mean, you've also made one of the bigger changes that we've seen on this podcast where you're now an MMA fighter, or you're training to do that. What got you interested in that, and how did that come to be?
I'm not quite an MMA fighter yet. I don't know if I'm gonna go full fledged, into the MMA world, but I'm definitely training just the martial arts aspect of it. Being in California, you got to be around a lot of mixed martial arts. It's everywhere. It's kind of on every corner. It's very popular. Jiu-jitsu is very popular, so it seems like it just rubbed off on me. I was around it a lot, just from the people I was with. So it just rubbed off on you. It sparked an interest in me. Bodybuilding kind of, you get to that point where, you're not challenged like you were before, just because you've reached the top of kind of the mountain you were climbing. So I wanted something that was completely new, something fresh, something that I feel a little bit more normal with. Bodybuilding, when I walk around in public and stuff, I just feel like I'm like this circus show almost. Like everybody's like, "Oh, what do you do?" Wow, they come up to you. But when I'm in my gi and I'm rolling, it's like I'm just a normal person. I feel normal. Nobody's looking at you like asking you all these questions. Like everybody's there to learn. They're students. They're just there to learn and train, and that's what I love. I mean, I can't thank MMA and sport enough. They've been great to me, and I just love the journey. I love the challenge. I love just not knowing everything for a change. Like you can start new, start fresh. And it's really helped me mentally coming back from California, all that mental stress and anxiety I had over a lot of personal stuff. Jujitsu allowed me to release it. The boxing allows me to release it. So I'm happy. I'm in a very happy place mentally, happy place physically. We'll get into the physical part soon because it's different with martial arts than bodybuilding.
She still got the guns though, everyone. I mean, that's the most important
Yeah,
part. Yeah, she still got yeah, she didn't lose any of that to MMA. I mean, I know a lot of people were probably worried when I said MMA. They're like, "Oh my god, no!" But no, she still no. So that and we talked before we started recording this podcast about she yeah, a lot of the changes that especially come with the training and the nutrition and everything. I mean, it's a whole different lifestyle. But when it also comes to this MMA, I mean, you told us before that you are scheduled for a fight, and so you're training for that. Is there a date in mind of when the fight's going to happen?
yes. So it was actually a charity event, for cancer research. Haymakers for Hope reached out to me early February before this corona hit, and they asked if I would be interested in doing a charity boxing event. I said, hey, why not? At that point, I competed in bodybuilding. I wanted to try something new. So I started really focusing on boxing because that's what the match is. And then boxing kind of rolled over into Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu, of course. So it's like I'm just doing all of it together. But it's scheduled for September 24th here in DC. So with all this corona thing, they're kind of unsure with if it's even gonna happen. Fingers crossed. I really hope it does because I'm super excited. And anybody knows that if I'm training for something, I'm like all in 100%. Like every day I'm on the mats, every day I'm training. So it's just different for me. But I'm hoping, God willing, they will still have the match come September. But if not, hey, I learned how to box, so it's not a bad gig.
Well, I'll personally put $100 on just when your opponent just takes one look at you and then they just start coughing and pretending like they have the coronavirus to get out of it. So I don't know if that match is even going to happen. Let's to be completely honest, because I mean
Right. I don't know
they
who I'm
better have a
fighting
life
yet.
insurance policy. That's all I'm going to say. That other person, because I told this before, but it's like who in the heck would want to schedule that? Because I mean, yeah,
Right.
it's not. Watch it be like some 5 foot tall like 100 pound girl, and then it's just like this, or who knows, they might find like the 1 6'8" woman that's
Yeah.
alive on the planet. So we don't know. But yeah, September 24th. I don't know if it's going to be live or anywhere if people can watch it, but I'd highly, if it is, I'll promote it too. I mean, I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to see that myself. But when we were talking before about just the changes that you had to make when you changed it from bodybuilding to more of an MMA, what were probably some of the bigger nutritional changes that you made? Because you were talking about earlier how, I mean, a lot of people would think that you probably have to eat less, but you found that you were having to eat even more than bodybuilding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm trying to maintain the mass that I have, the lean muscle I have. That's just keeping up with your protein and your carbs and stuff. But I'm basically training 3 times a day. In the morning, I'm trying to lift and get my weights in. And then the evening, afternoon time, I'm hitting, boxing class and then jujitsu, or I'm doing jujitsu and then Muay Thai, like back to back. So really, I'm doing like 3 sessions a day, which I'm completely comfortable with because bodybuilding, I was doing about 3 anyway. but it's different kind of training, much more strenuous on your body. I mean, I lost 6 pounds in a week when I first started training, and so I said, "Whoa, hold on, this is crazy." Like, I have to go back to the drawing board, figure out what I have to do nutritionally. So really, it was just eating more of the right things, many more carbs than probably what bodybuilders are used to having because we want to stay lean. But the amount of energy that I'm outputting, it's like I have to have more carbs, I have to have more protein, more fats, just more of everything. Occasionally, I might have like a muffin or just something to really boost my metabolism because I'm burning through it super, super fast. So that was probably a shocker for me, is realizing how quickly you can lose weight and not even meaning to really do it. So yeah, going back and feeding my body a lot more, more rest. Of course, you're just doing more work, so you need more rest. I've been trying to focus on that because we know sleep is hard for me. But yeah, it's been an adjustment. But I think I got myself back on track. I'm up to like 172 now. So that's good for me. I'm comfortable here. I'm just going to try to maintain it, but chiseling your body up a little bit doesn't hurt either. So that's what jujitsu and boxing and all that does too.
I bet half of our guests right now, when you said 6 pounds in a week you lost, are probably like, that. This is BS. Like, we lost half of our viewers right then and there just because they're all jealous right now. Yeah, believe me, if I could lose 6 pounds in a week, I would. Yeah, that is just insane. But yeah, it just shows, how just different training can really mess up the body or really just mix things up, where the body just gets used to a certain type of training.
Yes.
But I asked you this before we started recording as well. What were some body parts that you think really, really took this new training style to heart? Because I mean, you're training things that you would never, or I mean, you
Yeah.
probably train because being a bodybuilder, you do have to train almost every aspect of your body, but some maybe didn't get as much attention as they're getting right now.
Right. Yeah. I kind of noticed a little of my legs kind of go down because, again, I'm just doing more work and your legs hold on to a lot of muscle, a lot of energy is kind of stored in your legs. So that's where it comes from. And I'm tall. So, every little bit's going to make a huge difference because my legs are so long and everything. But I just tried to squat, heavy, still keep some heavy weight going on my lower body. I'm trying to be super functional. So flexibility, mobility, super important. But I mean, I'm okay with losing a little bit of size. I mean, I was pretty big coming into this. So a couple pounds of size here and there, I'm not worried about. I know how to put it back on if I need it. But for now, it's like I'm training for performance, not for aesthetics. So everything else stayed pretty much the same. My arms kind of held on, shoulders, back, chest,
Rub it in
keeping up.
even more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We get it. We get it. She has big arms, everyone. Yeah, good God. Jeez. I
No,
mean,
no, no. I
yeah.
mean, they held on, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. They
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
like
No,
disappear.
absolutely. Yeah. She's the one guest that every time she comes on, I mean, I need to go and work out arm. I actually do have an arm workout planned for today. So, I mean, I'm going to probably have to, do about a 10-hour workout after this now because, it just, the inspiration that I get from the guests. But yeah, I mean, and that's awesome too, because, I mean, so many things with this change in lifestyle. I mean, bodybuilding, you go from one absolute strict lifestyle to MMA, which is another absolute strict lifestyle. Do you think that your background in bodybuilding has maybe helped you out more than just someone who's, just like an average Joe who all of a sudden decided to take up MMA?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, anybody that trains MMA or does jujitsu, strength is a huge thing. Everybody wants to be strong, they want to be big, and they want to be fast. But I came into it strong and big and kind of fast. So I was a little ahead of the curve with people that are, just coming in to start up fresh. But I mean, I had a little advantage. Like even some people, they're like, "Wait, this isn't your first time rolling, is it?" I'm like, I mean, I'm a white belt, but it's like being around it so much and being strong and functional and doing all the crazy workouts that I do, it's really prepared me for the amount of stress that your body takes when you do martial arts. So I mean, I'm cool with it. I love it. I love it.
Are you still doing any cardio at all? Because anyone on this podcast knows that cardio is my mortal enemy. I mean, I'll do it, but it's just it's not working.
No, no, I have not done steady state cardio, which is what us bodybuilders are kind of used to, the Stairmaster or the elliptical or the treadmill. I've never been a fan of steady state cardio. I would rather do functional cardio. I'd rather jump rope. I'd rather swim. I'd rather do something functional. So I have not done steady state probably since my prep of last year. I did the St. Louis Pro in April. So I really just cut back on it drastically. And boxing and jujitsu, right there, those two alone, that's enough cardio for me. I do not need any more. I'm in the gym 7 days a week, pretty much. I don't really take a day off. So I have to back off the cardio. I need to be careful to not do too much. So between the jujitsu, boxing, lifting, I'm good. I'm good with steady state cardio. I don't know if I'll ever do it again.
No. Believe me, I wish I was at that point in my life where I could do that. But yeah, I put on a few pounds during the quarantine and throughout the winter, which is, when you live up in the upper Midwest, we're gonna have snow 9 months out of the year. So you might as well. That's your time
Right.
when you're in sweaters, so it really doesn't matter what you look like. So yeah, I got to get on that. But one thing that I find fascinating, because like you said, you are so big and muscular. Have you found that at times you have maybe had to go a little bit easier on people where you might not know your own strength, where if you're dealing with someone that is a little bit smaller than you? I've had the problem too, because I'm 6'3", 200 pounds, where, if I'm, you know, playing basketball or something against someone, and the person's like a 6 inches shorter than me, maybe like 50 pounds lighter, I sometimes don't know my own strength, and I might, accidentally like shove them
Yeah.
to the ground, just like doing something that normally wouldn't. So have you found that to be the case too?
Yeah. I'm a little afraid to see, like, if I were to go full force. Like, I do go kind of full force in training, like when I roll and stuff, but it's like I'm there to train. I'm not really there to like take people's heads off. Like we're all there to learn, and I want everybody just to be comfortable. Versus like, oh man, like I don't want to train with her. Like all she's gonna want to do is just take my head off and go crazy. Versus just kind of going with the flow, feeling the person's energy. Just going through the movements and the drills and everything that you learn. So I don't know. The only one, probably my coach, if I roll with him, he's a black belt. So it's like when you roll with higher belts, you're like, all right, now I need to be prepared to be a little bit more explosive and strong and not really hold back. But I'm afraid of my own strength. You're right. I don't, I'm afraid I really will break their arm. Like if I go right into it and pull it, like I'm afraid. So I just kind of ease it back, like until they're ready to tap versus like in a competition, of course, if I were to compete in jiu-jitsu, hopefully soon, I would do it full force. So I guess I'll figure out then
Hey, the
if I
local
end up
hospitals will
breaking.
thank you, because they'll have plenty of work. I mean, you'll provide them with a lot of patience. No, but I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that isn't talked about when people, start to really get into really great shape, is that, sometimes you do really need to, I mean, with all the benefits that being strong and muscular really have, I mean, there are those situations where you're like, hey, I don't know really what I'm fully capable of, but
And I
when
don't
it
want to
comes,
kill somebody or like hurt somebody so bad they can't come back and train.
yeah,
I would feel horrible. I wouldn't want someone doing that to me because some of these guys, like, I mean, they see me and they're like, oh, okay, she's big and muscular. Like, I'm going to try to take her head off. And that's exactly what they do. Like, they go so hardcore with me. And then I'm like, all right, if you want to play that game, I'll play that game then. And then that's when, they start to be like, all right, what do you do? And I'm like, what do you mean, what do I do? And they're like, what do you do? Like, I'm for like living? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, I'm a pro bodybuilder. And they're like, ah, that explains everything.
we've said it before. The only answer that's necessary is that you say, I don't lift any weights at all, and just leave it to them. Just be like, this is all just naturally God given. I've never even touched a weight.
Right.
And then just, yeah, but no, yeah, I mean, if they don't know that you're a bodybuilder just by looking at you, like right now, but then again, you are in what they make you wear. So it's a little bit restricted. I mean, I have a photo that I'll have pop up of her in that. And yeah, it's a little bit less restrictive, but one thing that we talk about all the time with bodybuilding is the mental issues that go along with the sport, where it comes to, I mean, it's so much more of a mental sport, and MMA can be similar as well. But with, I mean, a lot of bodybuilders I talk to, they deal with body dysmorphia, which is a huge problem that affects a lot of people. And it's affected me too. I mean, I've had times where I've walked up to people and said, hey, do I look fat at all? And they're like, no, you have like a six pack or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, just checking, just making sure. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
everyone has a little bit
Confirmation.
of it, I think, but especially with this, where your body went through a drastic change, where, like you said, you've lost maybe a little bit of the muscle, but you still have a lot of it on. But how has that been for you mentally, just adjusting to this new shape and new size?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to be more like an athletic type of bodybuilder. I don't want to look like this big, like blocky bowling ball, like walking around. I've always wanted to have more of a lean aesthetic look. So that's kind of the route it's going. I still look like a bodybuilder, but at the same time, I look like an athlete, versus like, oh, she just looks like a bodybuilder. Some people think I fight, I wrestle, CrossFit, bodybuilding. They can't figure it out, because they're like, all right, she's big, she's muscular, she's strong, but what does she do with it? Like that's that's kind of the route that it goes. So
She works an IT job. That's what she does with it.
right, right. So I mean, I'm okay with losing a little bit of size. Like I don't know if I'll compete in bodybuilding again, honestly. This year, of course, being with all this madness, it's crossed off. I've just mentally checked out for this year. I don't know what 2021 will bring, but I'm gonna get into more, the boxing event I do. Hopefully they'll have jujitsu shows that open back up, and I'm just gonna go from there. I'm in my zone, I'm enjoying it, I'm liking it. I'm okay with it. Bodybuilding has already prepared me mentally for the good, the bad, the ugly, the in between. So just love yourself. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
I'm gonna make this prediction right here. If she goes into MMA and like actually starts like doing it like full time, she's gonna be on Joe Rogan within about 2 years. So everyone mark that down because there's no way he's keeping her off the podcast if she does
I
it. So
hope so.
so
I'm only
everyone listen to that. Yeah,
33, so
that's all. That's always been like that's either that or having Jennifer Aniston on. Those are my two scenarios where I would just stop the podcast in and of itself. If I got to interview Jennifer Aniston or if I got to go on Joe Rogan. Either one of those two, I'm quitting the podcast the next day because I've accomplished all that I want in this life, and I can just
right.
I can just retire from this. But I think everyone watch out for that if she gets started on in the MMA circuit. But I mean, when it comes to the carbs that you said, they had to eat more. What is your go-to thing for carbs? Because a lot of people, there's a difference. There's good carbs and there's bad carbs, and a lot of people don't understand that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't do junk. I don't do a lot of cookies and cakes and Pop Tarts, and I just don't. I don't. It doesn't do my body any justice from a performance standpoint now. Before it was like an aesthetic standpoint. Now it's from a performance standpoint, which is another reason why you shouldn't really eat those things at all because it doesn't help you in either of those categories. So for me, my go-to carb is jasmine rice. I love it. It's gluten free. It's just easy to put on everything. I have a whole like bucket of it pretty much ready to go. I'll put some spinach, some rice, and some chicken or tuna on top or whatever. Put it in the thing, and there's a quick meal. I like vegan muffins from Whole Foods. They're like my go-to like treat if I'm gonna have one. But again, between all the cardio I do and the lifting and stuff, that muffin is gone in 20 seconds by the time I walk to my car. It's like already burned off. So I try to do it in moderation. I don't drink, I don't do any of that garbage. So I say muffins and jasmine rice are pretty much my go-to.
I actually have a question. So, what's the difference between a vegan muffin and a regular muffin? Because I didn't know that any of those muffins had like any meat or anything in them.
No, no, no. Well, vegan being no dairy. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, they don't have like
I was
eggs
gonna
in
say, I was
them.
like, who's putting bacon or whatever in those muffins? Because I want to order one of those. Yeah.
Right. No, no, no. No meat or anything, but just normal muffins will have like wheat flour, eggs, stuff that butter maybe to keep the batter or whatever together. So the vegan muffins have no butter, no dairy, no eggs, nothing like that. But I don't know what they put in them, or it's way better than a regular muffin. And I'm gluten free most of the time, so it just kind of worked out perfectly in that sense. But they're really good. Go to Whole Foods and try one because the blueberry vegan muffin is to die for.
I've honestly had other guests say that same exact thing, so I really think the guests should check it out. But going back quickly to California, I mean, if I ever went to California, I would have to try In-N-Out Burger. Did you try it when you were there?
I did. I would get the lettuce burger instead of the bun. I would just get the 2 pieces of lettuce, but I mean, it was good. I wouldn't say it's like
They hype it up to an unbelievable level, though. That's the only problem is that they say that like, oh, it's
yeah,
the best thing, and it's you can't really hype up a fast food chain that much because
I would rather have
every
like
store's different.
big like burger from like I don't know, Ruth's Chris or like some, nice restaurant that had like your big juicy, it's kind of a small patty. I mean, it tastes good, but it's not satiating to me. Like I eat it and I'm like, all right, like what's next? Like that was nothing. Like it was like an appetizer. So
Well, it all depends where you're at too. Like the Minnesota Burger Kings, they're all right, but if you go to Nebraska, like I do when I visit my family, they're the best hamburgers I've ever had. I don't know what the difference is, but yeah, it's all different too. So it also depends on your location. But yeah, I've always, if I'm ever there, that's the one thing I want to try. But I can guarantee it'll be the most anticlimactic thing ever. We'll take one bite and just be like, hey, that was it. But I had to ask that. But when it comes down to your training too, along with the MMA training, do you still do like the bodybuilding workouts, kind of like just the single, like working arms or working legs, just those days, or have you just done all MMA training?
yeah, I mean, 7 days a week, I'm pretty much doing MMA. It's jujitsu and boxing. Like I'm on the mats every single day, but the earlier portion of my day is more bodybuilder like. But since all the gyms shut down and I've just been working out at the studio, uh, you know, they have squat racks and dumbbells, couple kettlebells, and that's it. They don't have the leg press and the plate loaded machines and all those crazy big machines that we like as bodybuilders. So each day, I wouldn't say it's like a split routine like we're used to as bodybuilders. Some days I'll just do back, legs, arms. Next day I'll do shoulder, chest, hamstrings. Like I just mix it all around kind of like that. Or whatever I feel like I need to lift. Like as soon as I walk in, it's like intuitive lifting. You know what I mean? You just go in there and like, all right, what do I feel I need to work on? Like, what do I feel I haven't really hit in a long time? So I'll be like, all right, arms it is. So I'm sitting there banging out the arms or, whatever. But I still lift like a bodybuilder. I do compound movements, a lot of band work just because the bands now are like everybody's go to. I mean, I used them a lot before, but now it's like I can rig them to the machine, the rack, and do some power stuff. So that's what I love. I mean, I always love bodybuilding. It's who I am. So
What is one thing that you miss about being, focused on bodybuilding, and what is one thing that you're happy about that you don't have to deal with about bodybuilding now that you're focusing on MMA for now?
well, the one thing I miss is prob it's probably the friends, the girls that I get to see when I compete. I've met a lot of cool girls along the way. Some good relationships you build, and I'd say that's probably what I miss the most. Is just the girls, but the dieting, completely fine with letting go of that. Like I am so relieved to not be 6 meals a day, have it timed, make sure it's packed. You got to have this, you got to have that. Like bodybuilding is so precise and it's so measured and so, just details are so important. So that's kind of the mental release that I like to not have anymore. It's just, I can eat clean. I know what to eat and when to eat it. That's what bodybuilding's done for me. It's second nature. I know exactly what to do, when to do it. So I miss you girls, all the friends I have in the industry. Hopefully, I'll still connect with you guys sometime. But the dieting, I'm perfectly fine with letting go.
Yeah, what's it been like though, going from that, that strict diet lifestyle of, like you said, the 6 meals properly prepped? Because some people, I mean, I always like to sort of have it be, make the comparison of like, I had friends that, were, sons of policemen or daughters of policemen and of, like pastors. The moment they go to college, it's a free for all because they don't have that restriction. What was that like for you when you kind of didn't have that restriction with the strict dieting? Did you, maybe take it a little too far? Or was it just easier for you to get into, sort of a more relaxed diet?
Yeah, I mean, I learned very fast in bodybuilding after coming off of shows and eating yourself into a coma. I learned pretty fast that that's just not worth anything. You're miserable for a couple days, all for that couple minutes of enjoyment you had with that one particular meal. But I mean, now I just eat according to what I feel I need, like, okay, I'm going to do 3 sessions a day today. Make sure I get my good carbs in the morning, make sure my lunch is full of carbs, clean carbs, and I'm just ready to go. I'm prepared. Like that's kind of like my setup. But I mean, that's what I go with. I mean, intuitively eating.
No, yeah. I mean, hey, I take the latter over, the former any day of my life because yeah, like I said, I tried to prep for 2 weeks just in support of a friend who was doing it, and I lasted 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I gotta have a hamburger, once a week or something like that, or I gotta have a beer, every few days. But yeah,
The
it's
weight
just
off your head and off your shoulders to
oh
not have that
oh my
stress.
god.
And you freak out when you're like, oh no, I don't have meal four. Oh my god, what am I gonna do? Oh my god. And then you run to the grocery store, you're trying to like get these. It was such, I don't know how I did it for so long. I mean, when I think back, I'm like, wow, I did it for a really long time. But it gave me good eating habits. It instilled in me structure, discipline, all those wonderful things that I take with me to my next adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. But when it comes down to also, I mean, just the differences in the MMA community, would you say that when it comes down, because when I say with bodybuilding and female bodybuilding in particular, it's such a tight knit community where everyone really cares about each other and they really want everyone to be successful because it's kind of like they know what the competitors go through or what the fellow competitors go through to get into that shape. But do you find that to be like a similar type niche community with the MMA people that you've associated with so far?
I do. They were very welcoming. I've actually known the owner of the gym for probably over 10 years. I've known him just from a long, long time ago. He's a local guy here. So, I mean, I just thought about it. Like when I was training here, when everything shut down, you're like, where do I go for a gym? Like I wanted mats in my basement so I could just do drills and stuff on my own. And bless his heart, I asked him for mats and he's like, well, you can just come use the gym. It's closed down, but he's there doing, the owner type stuff, cleaning up, making sure everything's cool. So it was a blessing for me, and this is how God works in wonderful ways. I just told him about the boxing event and told him I wanted to roll. And he's like, well, here we are. So a couple people come in there, he does a little one-on-one stuff. And I'm just so blessed. I'm really thankful that he's allowed me to explore this this new area of my life. And he's a great coach, super supportive, brought out nothing but the best in me. I like being around MMA because again, I'm not Katie Lee, the bodybuilder. I'm not Katie Lee, this, everybody kind of, wow, what do you do kind of thing. Like I just walk in there and it's, oh, what up, Katie? Go put your gi on, get in line. They don't treat me special. They don't treat me different. I'm the same as everybody. They don't really care about bodybuilding and what I've accomplished. We're just, again, there to train, there to support each other. And I love it. I mean, I really do. Bodybuilding is one on one. It's usually you in the gym, it's you doing everything. It's you, your coaches help you and stuff, but bodybuilding is an individual sport. It really is. But MMA and all that, we all just work as a team. We help each other, switching partners, kind of involving everybody. And I love it. Like, really, as you can tell, I'm hooked.
No, yeah, and I'm so happy that you found that. And you mentioned briefly about sleep, and I gotta say, I've had days where I've done 2-day trainings where, I do a workout with weights and then I do cardio afterwards, like a little bit after I might go on a bike ride. I have trouble sleeping even after doing 2 days, and doing 3 days. I mean, it reaches a point for my body even after the 2 days where I'm just so tired that I literally can't sleep because I'm just so exhausted. But how are you able to even get any sleep after a 3-day training? Because I can't imagine how sore my body would be and just the amount of effort that it would take for me to even get any rest at all.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem. I have all these training sessions I do, and like my body kind of shuts down and gets tired, but my mind is still going. And that's my big thing, is shutting my mind off. Because when I'm laying in bed, like, I'm just thinking about everything, about life. I'm thinking about training, how I can be better tomorrow. What exercise can I do to help this? Oh, this guy, sweeped me in training. All right, I got to work on that. Like, I'm just constantly figuring out ways to be better. What am I going to wake up and do tomorrow? I got to get better at this. I need to be faster at that. So I'm going to go to the gym, target things. Like, that's my problem, is
And
shutting
next
off
thing you
my
know, it's
mind.
4 a.m.
Right, right. I'm like, okay, I laid down at like 11, but I didn't actually get to sleep till like 12 or 12:30. So I need to figure out, some melatonin, some herbal remedies, sometimes help me kind of just sleep. I need quality sleep, not just like rest. You need actual deep, REM sleep. So it's a constant struggle for me. I know I'll probably struggle for the rest of my life, but it's fine. I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying to go to bed earlier, get into a better maybe routine, but there's nothing I can do.
I mean,
Shut my mind off. I can't push a button,
I mean,
you
you
know.
would think by now that they would have invented a pill that like automatically just puts you to sleep as soon as you take it, but there have been. But I do take melatonin on occasion, and when I do, it's a good 20 minutes later, I'm dead on the bed basically. But it does work. But I mean, this pandemic has changed so many things about what we're doing, and it's ruined so many plans, and it's just altered the way that we live. How have you been during this pandemic? Because like I said, you still have, or like you said, you still have a studio that you could go to, but how have you been, mentally with this? Because a lot of people, they've just struggled with it, where you have sort of more of an online-ish business where I think it's maybe been a little bit easier than, some of the other people. But how have you dealt with this pandemic?
I kept myself very healthy. I think that was the first thing. Making sure I'm still eating right, taking my supplements, going to the gym, training, being healthy. I try to, encourage my clients, keep them on the same track as I'm doing. But I try not to pay attention to the media. I don't even want to listen to what's going on. You never know what to believe and when to believe it. So I just focus on my own life. I wake up every morning, make sure my family's okay. All right, make my breakfast, go train, go to the grocery store, come home, mind my business, and that's it. I mean, that's it. I've kept myself. That's how I probably kept my sanity, while other people might not be doing the right things. They're letting things get to them and not keeping a good mental state. So yeah, my business, personal training took a little dive, just because the gym shutting down. But I try to transition them all to virtual training or transition to just online training, which has been fine. It's picked up a little bit for me because everybody's home. But I mean, I try not to let it get to me. A lot of people just don't know how to control their emotions. They don't know how to have time alone with themselves and their thoughts to just go through all their emotions and thoughts in their head. And I don't know. I'm there to coach people. Of course, I'm there to help them, but you have to want to help yourself first.
Oh yeah, and I mean, we've heard multiple stories of people who just, they have all the time in the world now to get in shape or to still maintain their workouts, but it's just that motivation is really, really hard for so many people. But what advice do you have for anyone who, obviously, if you do want coaching advice, I'll leave a link to Katie Lee. She'd be more than happy to help you out. I mean, she does a great job with a lot of people, but for someone who's first getting started out, especially during this pandemic, because who knows how long. I mean, tomorrow we have it. We're in Minnesota. We have like the bars are opening up, but they're only at like 25% capacity. But I mean, it's still going to be for a lot of people. It's still going to be months upon months before they really get back to somewhat of a normal. But what advice do you have for people that are looking to just figure out a way just to get started in their healthy and fit lifestyle? Because I mean, there are so many people that I talk to that really, really, really want to make that change, but they don't have any of the tools or knowledge on how to do it, and that's what's holding them back.
Right. Well, I'd first say educate yourself. Reach out for help. Ask people who do know if you don't know. Google, research, read, educate yourself as much as possible, and just be positive. I mean, go know you're doing it for yourself. Like, okay, I know I'm starting this journey. It's only going to help you. It's not going to help Joe down the street or Sally down the street. It's literally only going to help you. So just take the first step. Just do the first step, whether it's reaching out to a coach, reading an article on health and fitness, looking at a, workout video, looking at something to just get your mind and your body kind of towards that direction. And then once you start working out, you get into the groove, trust me, your body's going to talk to you. It's going to say, "Hey, give me exercise today." Like, I want to go exercise. You have to get your body to that point where it just talks to you and all right, today's got to be exercise. I got to make my meals. I got to be healthy. So I'd really just say take the first step. I mean, do something to bring yourself closer to that exercise. And now there's been so many videos about people working out at home and what exercises to do. And there's so much out there. I mean, really, you could just click a hashtag and you'll see a gazillion videos of people working out with just bands or just water bottles or just a bag of dog food or something creative. So trust me, we're in the age of information. It's out there. You just have to take the time to read, search, educate, ask. So that's really what I would say.
Yeah, it was nice at first seeing all those videos uploaded on Instagram, but after about a week, it was just like, oh my God, just scrolling through, it was home workouts upon home workouts. But yeah, oh, everybody. And it was, yeah, it was just like someone had discovered like something new and they thought that they needed to share it. But I appreciate it though, because a lot of people, they really need that. And, it does work. I mean, I'd say, first of all, don't overtrain. That's the number one thing that I hear of people who just go balls to the
Yeah,
wall for the first 2 weeks. And then they're just like, oh, I'm so sore, I can't do it. I'd say anyone
yeah.
just start walking.
Pace yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, start walking. That's the best thing that you can do, especially to get started. But when you're preparing for this, just dealing with this stuff mentally, is it a different mental mindset that you have to have when you're getting in the match or the mat against someone else, as opposed to going on the stage for bodybuilding? Do you have a different set of mental, tricks that you have to do just to get yourself focused and ready?
Yeah. I mean, some of the same tricks. Bodybuilding is kind of like that one show, you get that one shot at it, and if you mess it up, it's gone. It's done. With the mat time and stuff, like you roll with one person, all right, they trapped you, they choked you, that's fine. You keep it moving. You go on to the next move, you go on to the next partner, and you get another chance. You get a chance to be better, you get a chance to fix the problem, that you caught yourself doing the last time. So that's probably I'd say more of a release, from that pressure, because you're going on stage. You're like, okay, this is it, Katie. Like, this is your one shot. Don't mess it up. Like, we prepped 16 weeks, a year, off season, all this crazy stuff for that one moment on stage. That's like maybe 60 seconds. So I say that's probably a good adjustment, because jujitsu and the mat time and stuff, you can get a next opportunity. Come in tomorrow. You're training tomorrow. Mat time tomorrow. Great. I'm going to be better. I'm going to do something different. So that's probably the thing I like about it, to the switch.
Well, yeah, I like the multiple chances part, where, I mean, bodybuilding, yeah, you have that one shot, and if you're not in shape or if you're just maybe a little bloated,
Right.
yeah, good luck. But with, MMA, there's always another day. You can just come back the next day and train for that. But because you're just doing a boxing match, so have you trained any of just the boxing stuff, or have you been focusing more on MMA, or is it sort of a mixture?
Yeah. Well, I've been doing mostly jujitsu. That's like kind of the main one that I've been doing. But being the boxing event, I heard about in February, I started training. Coach will hold the pads for me. I hit the bag probably twice or three times a week myself, just to work on speed. And then, of course, my training, I throw in moves that are going to help my boxing, functional fitness, my cardio, a lot of band work, a lot of explosiveness, a lot of coordination, just fluidity in your movements. The technique is what you have to get down. The power I have, I'm not worried about that. So yeah, it's just kind of switching things around a little bit, but um,
When are you going to release the Rocky training montage?
yeah. Hopefully soon. I have
That's what
another
if I
podcast
ever
I did.
box, that'd be the one thing that I do. That's just the first thing. That's the first thing that, like, you really have to do. But yeah,
They're like, you have to say Adrian when you win.
yeah,
Adrian.
that too. That too. You have to. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of those movies
I'll
where
do it.
you
I
have to do
surely
stuff.
will do it.
Yeah. And one of the last questions, because, I did a poll this New Year's of, what's one body part that people want to, see the most improvement on. The options were arms, back, abs, and legs. And arms won by like 15%. And obviously you are blessed with probably some of the best that we've seen on the show. So what do you train for arms in a day? Even now, as you've toned down just a tad, how do you what do you do for an arm workout?
I don't have a designated day anymore. I mean, before even this pandemic hit, I was trying to throw in like one full arm day, or if I go to the gym and I just didn't have anything else to train, I'm like, all right, it's going to be arms. So now I'm just my curls. I'm throwing in 3, 4 sets while I do another big body part. Um, Still bodybuilder style, hammer curls, straight bar curls, spider curls, all that good stuff. So I mean, I just keep doing what I've been doing, really.
She's just
Maybe
naturally
not as
get
heavy. I wouldn't say I
yeah.
go as heavy anymore because I mean, I'm just again not doing a show this year, so it's not like I'm, oh, I need my arms bigger. I need to hold these 50s. I know I can do 50s, but is it really necessary? Probably not. I'd rather save my joints for jujitsu.
It's just a lot naturally for her, and I know that's gonna make everyone mad, but some people are just like that, and we have to accept that in this life. But no, and that's and that's so great, and yeah, we wish you nothing but the best in this journey. But if we were to talk to you a year from today, where would you like to be at in just your overall life? I mean, if who knows, your MMA might take off, if you might do that, but what if you were to look into the future and see yourself a year from now? Where would you like to be at?
I like to have a bigger business. I'm trying to create an app for myself, so hopefully get my app up and running. Have that kind of going for me. I want to get my blue belt, of course. Just getting in there, training every day. Hopefully, another 4 or 5 months. I'll be there. As we know, I'll be training every day, so I'll get there pretty soon. And yeah, just have my business there, get my blue belt, do a jujitsu competition, see where I fall with that. If I like it, if I don't, get the boxing match done in September. Maybe I fall in love with that and just want to keep doing that going forward. Completely fine. But for now, I'm just focusing on the couple days ahead of me because, again, we don't know what's going to happen with this world. We don't know where we're going to go this year. I just wait for 2020 to be over so we can start a new year, start fresh, and just get life back to what we remember it being.
Well, I told her this before, but I got to repeat it for the podcast because I am going to set up a GoFundMe account for Katie when she eventually goes to jail for murdering this person that she's gonna be fighting. So everyone going, we're gonna need probably a lot of money because we don't know. But if again September 24th, I don't know if it's gonna be broadcast, but if you want to see someone get murdered live, I know some of you people are really sick in the head. Then that's what you wanted. That's what you want to see your whole entire life. I mean, this is your opportunity to do it. But I mean, again, Katie, we cannot thank you enough for coming on the podcast again. I mean, third time on, and can't wait to have you on again in a year talking about, how you've I don't even know. I can't even make a prediction on what you're going to do right now, but I think, nothing but positive things. And once that app gets made, just let me know. And I'm more than happy to promote it on the podcast because I love helping out my guests. But again, you guys, Katie, thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you for having me. I wish you guys all the best and stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. Appreciate it.
And I couldn't think of a better way to end it by you embarrassing us again. Can you give us a front double bye? And then we can also, okay. Oh God. Okay, everyone, go and work out now. We've got that motivation. But okay, so Katie, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.